I said, there is an Indian prayer that says, Great Spirit, grant me the power not to criticize thy neighbor until I walk in his moccasin. I said, outside of Henry Fry, I'm the only candidate that's walked a mile in your moccasins. And I related the story of upstairs, inadequate schools that I attended. And I started talking, and I said, by the way, how many of you have ever looked down the gun barrel of a Klansman and they've looked down yours? I said, raise your hand. Not one of them could do it. I said, I have. And then that changed. And then we started talking about the issues and everything.
Over 50 years ago, Native American families from across this state decided to make Greensboro their home. The parents, out of a major concern of our children graduating high school, came together and created Guilford Native American Association. Tonight, we come together to honor and celebrate their vision and hard work in hopes that we continue their efforts for 7 generations to come.
An organizational structure put in place to articulate our needs and to be, I called it a home away from home. That when Indians could come to this city, they could find a place that people who were the same and who had the same common history, common cultural background, and common needs. And so we organized and got 2 white people to help us, and got the Lutheran. The Lutheran gave us an $8,800 grant. But back then, and what it was to articulate needs. That was and one of the things we wanted to work on was the dropout rate of Indian kids in the school system. And I was the first parent chairman of the Indian education program. And so we had a Pat Cavan, who was an ex-teacher, just moved in the community, and she took over as the coordinator of that program. So we had someone in the school system going out into the community. We went over and had the sociology department at UNCG to help us take their class, and we went and found every Indian we could in Greensboro and Guilford County and put it in a database. And we surveyed them and wanted to know their educational background, economic background, the job level, where they were, and all of that. So this gentleman over at the professor over at UNCG was kind enough to use his students and help us put a database together. Now we've got a gallery in the Cultural Arts Center. We've got a daycare. We've got a job placement program. I think there's 7 programs being run out of that center now. And we also helped to organize a church. We've got an Indian church that's 5-year-old now. So we feel like now that we're complete in terms of serving the economic and social needs, and then the church, the religious needs. It's United Methodist, and we've got a Lumbee that is the pastor. And in 5 years, we've got the church, and it's paid for. But the Methodists helped out, and we raised our own money too.
It's important that we share that in the beginning, most of the funds that Guilford Native got, they got from some of the churches. Yeah. And some of the churches were supportive, and Emmanuel Baptist was one, and First Lutheran was the other. The Lutherans put more money into Guilford Native than any other faith. I know that Emmanuel, Joe West, W. Joe West, was a friend of mine. He passed last year. But Bob Cleffer and Dick Ryan and Jerry Brewer, all these people were essential in the beginning and the setting up of Guilford Native. We would not have been able to do it financially without those people. So I think it's important for us to say that and that we got some help from the Baptist church, but I'm not so sure it was financial. I mean, it was like they gave you a pot of money. The Lutherans gave a pot of money, and they have done that in years past within state organizations or that I've been involved in, and I think it's important. I think we need to touch that little piece of information because it's important for the changing of lives, which it changed me and my husband and my children's lives greatly, being involved in the church. And when I say that,
with our first powwow, and then we went to economic development, with our Guilford Native Industries, NORA, and building houses and selling them and so on. And then we went to spirituality. And those are 5 of the basic things that guide an Indian tribal community. It became a place for people to come and get help in education, in social services, even clothing. We had a huge clothing closet. We had a pantry. Churches and different ones would give us food. We could give people maybe a 3-week supply or at least a week's supply of groceries. And fortunately, a lot of it would be canned hams or canned meat. And so we were able to help them. And if not, urban ministries and social services, instead of them having to go through there and fill out all that information, we could give them a referral and they would accept it.
Well, we were talking earlier because I remember working on the very first book, powwow book with Miss Ruth. I worked there as a youth counselor, and we had the typewriter, and I told the kids this was the first cut and paste because we cut what we wanted. We would type little things on the typewriter, and then we'd cut it out and then either glue it or tape. Sometimes if you glued it and it come up a little bit, there'd be a little shadow. But yeah, we were looking at this and just reminiscing of like my whole family. I mean, my dad has worked at Guilford Native, Kim, who has passed, and my cousin Tammy, they both were former Miss Guilford Natives. And so, even though I was 18 by the time I attended my first powwow and competed for Miss Guilford Native back in 1982. But at some point, it's like my whole family, has been part of it. And of course, I've raised my kids. Ryan and Raven, there's all kind of pictures in here with Jennifer's kids of them being little and their regalias and coming to dance class and still are involved. So when we say Guilford Native is multi-generational.
Yeah.
Indian education and Guilford Native. I think because of Indian education, to me it all started, and I wasn't the ones who helped start it, but that's all we talked about. When we went to our meetings, it was how many people, we knew exactly how many Indians in Guilford County, in Greensboro City, and High Point. You had a list of every one of them. Mm-hmm. And those, what were they called the Indian education, the ones who worked for the
the Indian Education Coordinator.
They did a heck of a job. I remember Janice Grady in High Point. She knew every kid. She had a roll every morning, what Indians didn't show up. She went and checked on them. She would check on them that day and find out and make them promise they'll be there the next day. That kind of thing. And, no, we didn't have zero graduating when Indian education started. But it wasn't long with Guilford Native that number started improving drastically.
Yes.
And whatever Miss Ruth had to do to, whether it was daycare or whether it was Guilford Native Industries, whatever she could do to raise funds to make it happen. And then we celebrate it every year. We'll go to the Blue Room at the Coliseum and celebrate how many kids, awards ceremonies. And that was a big thing. That was the highlight of the year, was the award ceremonies.
It's important because our Native students, our Native people, our Native youth, Native people in general, adults, they deserve an opportunity to learn about their culture. Even though we aren't in Clinton, Dunn, Robinson County, Lumberton, Buckhead, we're not in those areas anymore. We're here, but we are still Native Americans. We might be Native Americans in Greensboro, but we still deserve those opportunities. And it's a little disheartening when we are to go back to our homelands and our home communities and we don't understand or we don't know because we haven't received those educational opportunities and those chances to go out and learn about our people. So it makes it easier to connect with our communities and especially our people back home.
Family, not only for myself, but it gave my mother, she worked at Cone Mills. She first moved here from Robinson County, and she was obviously not happy. No air conditioning. I remember her coming home just exhausted from her shift, and Guilford Native gave her the confidence and she applied to be a police officer here in Greensboro. And she was not only one of 5 women, but she was the first Native American on the Greensboro police force.
And your dad was the first, I call him a trader at the powwow.
Yeah.
Now, the first powwow we had, and he was there.
I remember that.
You know what he did? He had a burning iron,
Mm-hmm.
and he would do people's names on wooden planks and stuff like that. We only had 2 people that year doing stuff. That year, it was him, and there's a Chalmers Oxendine, an older gentleman. I mean, he was up in his age. He's probably in his 70s at that time. He was 60s anyway. And Mr. Chalmers had come. He lived outside of Red Springs, between Red Springs and Antioch. And he had come up, and he was weaving chairs. And making chair seats, that was his craft, and he was doing that. And them was the 2 craft people.
Because I didn't remember that.
And well, it was the first powwow was nice. It was interesting. We had the highlight was High Point playing Greensboro. It was a softball, baseball, one or the other. It was one of the games. That was the highlight and the cakewalk. It was a cakewalk. And
Well,
man,
I've heard about the cakewalk, so y'all gonna have to explain that to me.
but Miss Ruth, she did that.
So again, you know, in the 70s, as people, particularly here in North Carolina, said, you know, we want our culture back, you know, because forever we were banned from our dances and singing our songs and holding powwows and sacred events. So when it all started back up, there was only a handful of people in North Carolina that knew anything about a powwow.
Ladies and gentlemen, making the way into the arena, we want to welcome you back. Welcome our flag bearers here this weekend. Again, donning our Eagle staff here for Guilford Native American Association, the flag of all nations. Mr. Perry Hunt, ladies and gentlemen, from the U.S. Marine Corps. And again, from the Oxendine family flag bearers here, Mr. Jamie Oxendine, with our Eagle staff here this weekend. Again, we thank you, flag bearers.
Of an agency our size to become a United Way agency.
And it
That
took
made
them,
it difficult too.
They did make it difficult. We jumped through a lot
it
of
took
hoops.
a long time for them to actually understand
Yeah.
what Guilford Native was, or how we operated.
Well, let me say this about Dorothy. She did all the bookkeeping. And everything was right. All the federal guidelines, she made sure this pot of money was supposed to be spent, this is where it went. And there was never anything in question when she did all the books. So I was just impressed with somebody with her skill.
So many people have helped.
A lot of people
Native,
helped.
you know.
But then we left from URA and ended up, let's see, it was 1 year.
Castle McCullough.
We did, but before that, we had 1 year.
At the old fairground?
Yeah, at the old fairground.
Oh,
One year.
yes.
Then we went to
Yeah.
Castle McCullough.
Yeah.
Only 1 year.
Where was the old fairground?
On Penny Road. Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that's it. I forgot that.
Yeah.
We left from there, but it was only 1 year. And then Castle McCullough became a way of making about everyone she came in contact with feel better.
Mm-hmm.
She
That's
did
true.
about themselves.
That she did for me.
Okay, that's the reason I reckon I was on the board for a number of years, and I'm sure a lot of other people did too. She could convince you, you know, what might be good for
Should
you.
build you up.
She'd build you up, and she did that with the kids.
After
All
she
the
passed,
kids.
someone told me, said, Jennifer, your mom saw things in me that I never saw in
Yeah.
me.
That's right.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest parts of her legacy.
And-
was seeing.
That's one of the things I wanted to tap into too. The gallery tapped into the artistic part of a lot of us that we didn't even know was there, that even existed. And I told y'all, I told you, and I told Miss Ruth long before she died, that you tapped into an artistic part of me that I didn't know was there. I really didn't know it was there, and they asked, and I would deliver. So it's but Miss Ruth also tapped into something that most of you. It was called the Native American Giveaway. There's a book in New York by this writer that I know in Methodism, and he talks about how when you come into the Native American community and you do something and they gift you, it's called the giveaway. And it's one of the things that the European society tried to take from us, but they never could, because and I learned about it by reading the book, and then I remembered when I'd go home, my mom and daddy, they were not rich by no means, but she would never let me come back to Greensboro without giving me a piece of ham or a jar of grape hulls or a jar of jelly or peaches or something when we'd go there. And then if somebody come to do a program for Miss Ruth, if we didn't have the money, we gave them something. And she reinstituted that. That's part of being who we are. And nobody can take it away.
And writing thank you notes. That's what she told me. I have a story when from my job, because I grew up or I was part of corporate America, but you're right, these things that, my family and then being part of this agency instilled. So I was working on a project and had to interview a lot of people, and after the interview, I would sit down and write them a note. And my boss called me in her office one day, and you're thinking, what have I done now? And she said she had gotten calls from the people I had written a thank you note to, because that had never happened. It was so unexpected. And even today, I teach my kids, we write thank you notes or at least an email. But Miss Ruth could insult you, but you had to think about it whether it was really an insult.
She did. I know for me, when I won Miss Guilford Native and I had my first speech or program that I had to do, it was at a church. I want to say it was at Emmanuel, I'm not sure. And I was scared to death. I read what she wrote. She wrote it out for me. But I didn't say the words properly. Did it come out of my mouth exactly? So she sat me down and taught me how to speak properly. But I know she was not happy or pleased, but she never came off that way.
Right.
She made me feel good, but I was like, In another way, she's saying, Sharon, don't say the word like that. Don't mess up the English language is basically what she told me. So.
Well, I tell people I actually used to be an introvert until I met Miss Ruth. And I have the same story when I was Miss Guilford Native and had to go out, and I was terrified of speaking in front of a group. And to the day, she told me, she said, you have a story to tell. Mm-hmm. And if you don't tell it, then they won't know. And ever since then, of course, now, I've had the opportunity to speak in front of thousands, and I'll always remember that. You have a story to tell. If you don't tell it, then they won't know.
I always said I don't want to end up with a life of regrets. And there are few. Anybody would do some things differently, but I'm basically pleased. I am happy. I think happiness is a state of mind, and we're all happy at times, but to say that anybody is happy all the time, I don't think so. It depends on how we identify, but I'm satisfied, and I still have hopes and dreams.
Also signifies to each specific dancer, they're able to carry their family with them in their regalias, and not only their dance styles, but what they're doing in the arena. It signifies their families and those who have come before them. And in the 1940s, it was illegal for Native Americans to practice our traditions and do our dances as we did. So it's really important to pass these items down and to show that we're still here and that these items they're sacred and they come from people who are long gone, but people who had meaningful spirits and who had wonderful connections.
For those who don't know, there was a long period in our history here in North Carolina and across Turtle Island where our people were ashamed to be ourselves. We had to hide our true identity. We couldn't do these ceremonies. We couldn't do these dances. And that's why they're so special to us now, because we now truly realize that our language, our dances, our way of life is a gift. And we won't take that for granted. That's why it's important when we come out here in the arena that we do it the right way, that we do it with the right intentions. So as Stephen was taught, we're taught that as much as we give back. We don't exist in isolation. It's never just us. We're a part of a family, we're a part of a people, we're a part of a community. Everything we do is carried on the backs of our community as well.
our future. They are what's next. And I think that the biggest thing that we can do as any person, youth, adult, is listen to our elders. Our elders have so much to share, and I hate to say it, but they are going so quickly. So we need to listen and we need to revitalize our culture because so much of it was lost in the assimilation and genocide. So it's important that we learn what they still have and we pass it down. And it's important that our youth learn it and that they can then pass it down. And a big thing that I have to say is that there is a community waiting for anybody, and you just have to find it. And once you find it, you're golden. You've got it. You've got what you need. And if you find it early enough, it just makes things so much easier.
Okay, I'm Greg Jenkins of the Kahari Tribe, the tribal administrator of the Kahari Tribe. And today I come to you wishing the Guilford Native American Association congratulations on 50 years of service to Indian people. We thank you, Guilford Native, for providing a community for our folks that have gone to the urban areas seeking educational attainment and employment opportunity. Your organization has been a worthy organization. Your promotion of the Native American culture and arts and crafts and your museum and your powwow, it has all been a wonderful service to people. You've helped make this world a better place, and we all appreciate you. And by the way, Merry Christmas, Guilford Native American Association.
Congratulations, Guilford Native American Association, GNAA, on your 50th anniversary. I'm so excited to be able to celebrate this with you. What a wonderful milestone and achievement for the organization and for the Native community. I'm so thankful to be a part of this. It's just going to be a wonderful celebration. Thank you so for everything that you do for the community, for me. I just appreciate you all so much. Thank you to the board of GNAA, Jennifer Rebels Baxter, the executive director, and all the members, everything you've done as a community. Again, congratulations on 50 years.
Congratulations, Guilford Native, on celebrating 50 years from one of your very own prodigies, Ravendale Stanley with Original Peoples.
Oh my God.
Congratulations, Guilford Native, on your 50th anniversary.
Hello, everyone. I want to take this moment to say happy 50th anniversary to everyone at Guilford Native American Association. For the last 50 years, you guys have been advocates, pushing and promoting not just Lumbee, but all American Indians in and around the Triad area. Thank you for everything. Thank you to the founders, and thank you to those who are there now, continuing to be the leaders that area needs. So once again, happy 50th anniversary, and God bless you all.
I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Guilford Native American Association regarding its 50th anniversary. Guilford Native has set the stage for 5 decades in terms of creating programs and services and activities.
Congratulations, Guilford Native American Association, on your 50th anniversary.
Congratulations from the American Indian Center. Happy 50th anniversary. Here's to 50 more. Woo!
On behalf of the North Carolina Native American Youth Organization, we want to congratulate Guilford Native American Association for their 50 years. Congratulations.
Happy 50th anniversary, Guilford Natives.
All of us here at Triangle Native American Society send a big congratulations to our dear friends at Guilford Native American Association. Congratulations on your 50th anniversary as an organization. Y'all have been leading the way for urban Indian organizations in North Carolina for 50 years, and we're so excited to celebrate your continued presence here in our Native communities. Thanks for all you do, and we look forward to celebrating with you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Corbin Eddings, President of the United Tribes of North Carolina. On behalf of the United Tribes, it is truly an honor to congratulate Guilford Native American Association on an incredible milestone. 50 years of service, culture, and community leadership. For 5 decades, this organization has been a guiding light, preserving our Native American heritage, uplifting families, and strengthening communities across Guilford County and beyond. 50 years represents generations of dedication, of sacrifice, and of vision. It reflects the heart of Native American people, resilient, unified, and rooted in tradition, while moving boldly into the future. We celebrate not only your history, but the lives that you've touched and the impact that you continue to make. I warmly invite everyone to join Guilford Native American Association for their 50th anniversary gala. It's on December 13, 2025 at the Guilford Cultural Center. Let's show our support and celebrate 50 years of service and excellence together. Congratulations, Guilford Native American Association, and Merry Christmas from the United Tribes.
Good day, everyone. We are the Guilford County Schools and Guilford Native American Association Culture Class, and we would like to congratulate the Guilford Native American Association on 50 years. We are the 7th generation.
There's a rumbling up in Lumberton. There's a rumbling up in Lumberton. There's a rumbling up in Lumberton. A black man did and a Native American son. And there's a stumbling up in Lumberton. There's a stumbling up in Lumberton. There's a stumbling up in Lumberton. Billy McCullough, dead in the jailhouse, son. And there's a fumbling up in Lumberton. There's a fumbling up in Lumberton. There's a fumbling up in Lumberton. Jimmy Earl Cummings, shot by the sheriff's son.